What is up, Honey Badger Nation? Welcome to episode 200.
200
just live, and
that is a testament to John Kitchen's 200 weeks consistency at its best. There is nobody with more discipline than John Kitchen's. I'll say it over and over again. You've done a great job. It's a pleasure to be here 200 episodes later and doing this with you, brother.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you guys, and really wanted to bring both of you in and really just kind of, because we have so many new people that maybe haven't even been able to understand or wrap their heads around what this series and these conversations have been about, and kind of give the history, give the story a little bit of even how Honey Badger Nation came to be, and where it all originated, where it started, and really talk them through what's happened over the previous 200 episodes in the last 5, 10, 15 years, even of how we even got to this point. And then, what we're excited about, moving forward into the future. So, cuz I'll let you kind of, kick us off here and take us back even, where Honey Badger even came from.
Yeah. I'll tee up the Honey Badger name. So like, if you ever wonder, well, where the heck did they come up with the name Honey Badger? Back in, I don't even remember what year it was. Maybe it was 14, 15, 16, somewhere in there. There was a video that went viral about honey badgers, and it was hysterical. And it was before all the content we have today. It was, Instagram wasn't around, TikTok wasn't around. It was just a YouTube video, I think. And it was pretty funny, but I'd never seen a honey badger. I think most people in the world had never seen a honey badger, to be honest with you. I think some people still don't know what a honey badger is. But there were some documentaries about honey badgers, and it's like the most relentless animal there is. That's fearless, completely fearless. And I think to a lot of extent, we embody. If you're in real estate, you got to persevere. You got to have grit. You have to be relentless in your pursuit. You have to go take what you want. Nobody's going to give it to you. And so that became an award that we did at our annual Exponential Growth Summit, and it was the one award nobody knew who was going to win. But, Mr. Albie Stasek is one of the recipients of that award, being a honey badger. What year was that? 2014. So it must have been, 20. You may have won the first one, Al.
No, this was 16.
Oh, that was 16?
Yep.
So you always kind of knew who was doing what, how many units, and who had the most volume. And so those kind of awards were kind of always people kind of knew who was going to win. But this one was special. It was, for someone who had persevered through one of the hardest years and still came out on top, and we spent a lot of time evaluating the shit people went through and how they persevered through it, and things that are hard, which if you don't have that honey badger mentality, a lot of those things will keep you from success if you don't push through when things are really tough and you're in the struggle, whatever that may be. And so that was the award. And then Al, you might remember better than me. I know we were setting up the Facebook group back when we joined EXP. There wasn't even Workplace at the time. And we were trying to create this community of agents that were joining us here at EXP. And I feel like we kind of just accidentally named it that. But I don't remember the conversation as well as maybe you do.
I think we knew we needed a platform that we were able to bring agents on to A, form the community, and B, form it around the principles that we all believe in, the same that we all share, the beliefs that we share, like always be learning. So we wanted something that we'd be able to put value, like what John has done here with Expert Mentors, out on a consistent basis, something that they knew they can lean into and trust that would be there and meet them where they're at in the business to help them grow. And so we were stumped. We're like, well, we ain't going to call it, Stasek Kitchens, Kinder Reese, whatever, like
law firm
resonates with nobody. It had to be about them. And I think we were just like, hey, why don't we just use Honey Badger? And I don't even know if we said nation at the time, but just how about the Honey Badger group? And then we can change it down the road, I think is what we said.
I remember that. Yeah.
Now, and what I think we didn't know was that the reason it got so sticky is because of how people, how they identified with it. And then what we learned down the line, which was the same principles and how we identify the traits of a honey badger, are the same exact traits that were found to be the traits of the top 1% performers in the world, as Coach Bird had pointed out to us. So when you talk about someone who's extraordinarily bold, they're out there, they're bold, they're getting after it, they have no fear, they have the grit, the resilience, the relentless pursuit of greatness, and they're intrinsically motivated. They don't need someone to go out there and pump them up and rah them up. They're intrinsically motivated. They can motivate themselves to get up and after it. And like when you think about the top 1%, those are the traits. Those are some of the traits of the top 1%, which happen to be the traits of Honey Badger Nation.
Yeah.
So I can see why now, looking backwards, that it was so that the concept of a honey badger is so sticky. What I didn't know, I still pinch myself today. I mean, when we go up to the boat, I'm looking around, I see people with honey badger hats on. Like they're not in real estate. They just connect. It's that personal connection to the traits and the beliefs that I think it's starting to become a brand that people, they want to fly that flag,
Right. Yep. That's it, man. And I think, what's interesting about this too was, when we joined, and now you joined, a few months before we came aboard, right? We hoped that EXP was going to deliver on the value proposition as a brokerage, but we didn't know. I mean, we didn't, we're like, I hope this really works. I really hope this works. And so our whole mindset when we joined, and this is, I had a conversation with a kid yesterday, and he asked a really good question. He said, "Why should I join your group versus anybody else's?" I said, I got a really good answer to that. We were the only coaching organization, that had resources around helping agents grow their business that joined EXP at the time. There was no one else that was really, that was the type of animal we were. We weren't just another agent that joined the company. We actually are already doing these types of calls, already doing the types of trainings. And now today, if you're part of Honey Badger Nation, if you don't know, go to honeybadgernation.com, go look at the resources, go look at the daily things that are happening every week in the group. And we said we just want to add more value to everybody that joins. Like, hell, even if they didn't like EXP, maybe they would want to stay because of the value we bring to the table. That was kind of our thinking early on. Fortunately, EXP over delivers on everything, so that wasn't really a threat, but it's really what's given us, the ability to make a bigger impact on more people's lives and add value to the agents that come aboard and actually help people, like actually be of benefit. And if whether you're interested in revenue share or you just want to grow your production, like feeling like that you're a part of something where you're actually getting that support, you're getting that help, you're plugged into something that's adding a ton of value. And the 200 episodes, if you haven't gone back and listen to some of these episodes, like we're interviewing some of the top people in the world in real estate. John is every single week. And if you want to know what anybody who's successful in real estate has done to be successful, they learn from the best in the industry. Like I could never say I was, I like Gary Vee says it, like, never read a book, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if I believe that, buddy, but like I learned from people that came before me. I learned from people that was doing 300 deals when I was doing 100. I learned from people doing, 8. There wasn't very many people doing, more than 500 deals when I was doing that. But I learned from the people that were already doing what I was trying to do. And so, take the time to listen to what they're doing and take the nuggets from, agents that are teaching. Last week, John, you mentioned, I want to go back and listen to, it's like the top 4 things to be doing right now. Like if you haven't been through a down market and you don't know what to do right now, last week's episode with Nicole Ambrose, was about what to do right now in this shifting market. That's super relevant, real-time information that you ain't going to get out there on the web, just searching or paying coaching and this and that, the other, but you can get it here as a part of the community. So, that's kind of, what got it kicked off and why we do what we do.
Yeah. And, for everybody tuning in, it really came from, Kyle Whistle and Daniel Beer kind of coming together. And so for you guys tuning in, right, it's not just the 3 of us didn't come up with it. Kyle Whistle and Daniel Beer were a huge part of that. And they said, hey guys, here's the deal. We have so many rock stars in this community. And I think, understanding this is a community and community is interactive. Community is not just the figureheads preaching. And so that's the difference. And if you guys look in there, like we don't, I mean, we'll help, we'll push, we'll do things, but like, we're not in there preaching. I mean, it is a community that helps each other thrive to be the best. And that's what Dan and Kyle were like, hey guys, we have so many amazing people in this community that just want to give back, And we need to be able to have a platform for them to be able to do that. And that really kicked it off. You know, you just look, I'm looking at the list, right? Kyle Whistle, Al, Jay, Dan Beer, Alex Piok's been on multiple times, just pouring in to giving real strategies that actually work in your real estate business. Just overcoming objections, team building. I mean, just agent attraction strategies, just everything that you can kind of even think of. And what's been kind of fun that I've been able to do since we're, a few years in with this episode is that Gogo comes on. She's the very first episode at the beginning of every year, and it's the state of social media. Veronica's been on several times. Tina Call's been on multiple times. Her and Kev. I mean, it's just the list goes on and on when you look at, some of the best, not only the best humans, the best real estate professionals at the top of their game that are just coming in and pouring into this community, which is really amazing.
So Jay, I want to pile on one additional thing to what you had said. I don't know who you were talking to yesterday, but they were asking you, why should I, and this was posed to me just recently too, because there's a gentleman who's trying to make a decision, these big players that are selling lots of homes or have a big team, they know lots of agents, and they all, a lot of agents at EXP would love for them to join them. And sometimes they find themselves in a situation where they're having to choose, like, well, should I go in this direction or should I go in this direction? And that was posed to me as well. And in addition, and I don't know what weighs hot, I'm not trying to say this is heavier than this, but Jay mentioned all the value. We started this group out about adding the most value that anyone else would be able to add to an agent's live or a broker's lives to help them grow their business in whatever dimension that could be, through social media, could be through selling more homes, building a big team, or a revenue share. The other thing that separates us, and this part right here cannot be duplicated, is that we don't have just one Leonidas. Everyone's heard them or watched the movie 300, right? Where you have Leonidas who's marching the soldiers into the fight, and that's that, like, he is their clear leader, right? We have like a dozen Leonidases when you think about it in Honey Badger Nation.
Doesn't. Shoot, man, we might have 100, 300 Leonidases.
Think about that for a second. And when you're talking about a community that's so tightly woven, and yes, we have, because we have so many Leonidases, we have other groups that have broken off that are extremely strong groups on their own. With, you know what I mean? But now combine that with the strength of Honey Badger Nation, combine that with the Fast Forward movement, combine that with Veronica and Carlos and their
Alliance.
Excuse me?
The Global Alliance.
Global Alliance. And I know that there's some others that I'm missing, but when you see these branching off, and they're adding even more value to the value proposition, it's kind of untouchable. It's and I'm not saying that in a way of like, arrogance by any means. It's just factual. Like we have a group of leaders they're warriors, and they've been through the trenches of battle, and we got people like Chuck Fazio, Curtis Johnson. I mean, really the list just keeps going on and on of these titans. And what's cool is that there's ego set aside, and everybody's in there piling on more and more value to just make the value proposition stickier and stickier.
Yeah. I mean, what I love about it too, it's also pulling people that are, cause they're having to bring something in and share, and it's relevant. Like what we were talking about with Nicole last week. And, she's, I mean, how many people has she recruited to the company? And then, the number one thing that she jumps in there and is talking about is say, hey, this is where you need to be focused at moving into the new year, going deep, having a handful of strategies that actually work, like real time, like content and information that is coming from people that are actually in the trenches doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I love about these conversations and these, the previous episodes that we've been able to do. And there's also some stuff in there that's just timeless, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's just some timeless stuff in there that even you look at, we were talking about, earlier on, and even riding through the challenges that we rode through with the pandemic and things that were working there. And, it's just so relevant, but there's also some really timely principles and concepts that they share. And I still have to give it, you said Chuck's name. Chuck still wins the shirt. He wins the best t-shirt on Expert Mentors Live. It was hashtag it's just math. Right. That was it. Hands down. He wins the trophy for the best t-shirt.
Love it.
No doubt. One of the things that that happened when you asked me that question, Al, this guy was talking, he had great questions. I wish everybody had the questions he had because he had the right questions. Most people should be asking those questions and they don't. But one of the questions he asked, he said, "What systems and processes do y'all have for agents in production?" And he wasn't asking so much for him because he had been pretty successful, but he was asking for the agents that he was potentially going to be sponsoring someday. And he really actually was not as interested in agent attraction as you might have thought by asking that question. But, that doesn't exist like anywhere in the industry. Like, hey, you join a brokerage, what should you do? Well, let's start with, you need to go through the certified home selling advisor training and the certified home buying, advisor training, where there's systems, there's a presentation, there's the marketing pieces, there's the scripts, everything you need to be successful is taught. I get updates. John, I don't know if you get these updates. I don't think you do get them out because it comes from an old Kajabi account where we put all this stuff in. People are like, I'm freaking mind blown. I've never heard information like this before. Like what we teach through that course is through years and years and years of trying to make a duplicatable process so we could help an agent become the most successful the fastest. That's all we were trying to do. And it's, that is a system. It's a process to follow. And agents don't get that stuff anywhere else. And they certainly don't get it joining just anybody or any group in the company. And so, he was interested about systems and processes. So as I repeated back to him, I said, let me tell you about the systems and processes we have. We also have systems and processes around agent attraction. We go to honeybadgernation.com. You can download the app. We have a process, a system, training around how exactly to do agent attraction. And it's not about explaining EXP. It's about helping agents, how to grow your business, how to double your business, add a new passive income stream, and create an exit strategy by partnering with us without ever having to pay for coaching, training, or technology ever again. Like, anybody can invite to that. It's a universal offer. It's baked with testimonials and things we know work. If you want to attract agents to EXP, we built a system for that. And so that's a huge advantage that I don't know that most people really truly understand unless they've really gone through it and actually use it. And if they do, then they get it. But that's it's important if you're talking to an agent and you want to know they're going to have success and you don't want all of that to be shouldered on as a burden you have to carry, then plugging them into the systems and processes that we built is going to make agent attraction 10 times easier for you.
I agree.
Yeah. And you just talked about that system and process. And I think, it's probably one of the most critical things for agents to go through right now. If you're in production, even if you've done tons and tons of production, I still think it's one of the best refreshers if you have, even if you've gone through it to refresh. And the reason is that as the market gets back to where, when we built it, why we built it, is that you have a consistent, duplicatable process that make sure you don't skip any steps to be able to articulate your value in a way that essentially makes it irresistible for a client not to do business with you.
Right.
And that's really what it is. I mean, we built it out of a necessity to get your ass out of production. However, it really served so many other purposes because it really, like, the years of failure of face-to-face, it put it everything right. That whole system was built out of failure.
Mm-hmm.
Every step was built out of failure. And what we know to be true is that if you lose a listing, we can pinpoint that you skipped a step or you got things out of order in that process.
Right.
Period.
Right.
And so, and people are like, oh, it was built back then. It's built on principles.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't care. You can fancy it up because we've had some of the best agents on the planet. The $1 billion man, Brett Jennings in Silicon Valley, still uses the same process.
Yep.
I mean, if it works in Silicon Valley, and you close $1 billion in production in 1 year.
Yeah.
It'd be hard not to look at that.
Jason Dylan, I don't know if you can put that up on the screen, but that's powerful. Appreciate the kind words, Jason. You're 100% right. 4 Aces Nation, fast forward, the list goes on, and there's many, many layers to what we're doing here for sure. So appreciate that. Yesterday I shot a new YouTube video. It's not out yet or whatever, but it's going back to the basics because, what was one of the number one principles presentations, I should say, is win every listing every time at your price and terms without reducing your commission. Like, how valuable is that going to be, especially moving into the shifting market over, 2023, 2024, when we actually need skills to compete in this new market. We're going to be losing lots of let's call it dead weight agents who are really, they're not doing any production, if any at all. They're doing maybe 1 or 2 deals a year or whatever. They're going to be out. They're going to be gone. The thinning of the herd has started, and it probably will continue. My guess is in the next 18 months. And it's going to boil back down to the principles, the basics, which never have failed us, because it's been pretty easy to sell a house in the last 2-3 years. I think everyone can agree with that. And now it's going to be, all right, Navy SEAL time. Now we got to separate the men from the boys.
Yep.
David Goggins out there, right? And we happen to have that Navy SEAL training for real estate agents in the form of our boot camp. John, I don't know if you want to, kind of say a little bit about, the boot camp and what we've done. And we actually have one coming up here pretty soon, in a couple months.
Yeah. So we take and really break apart that certified home selling advisor and certified home buying advisor processes down. It's, it is boot camp style over 3 days. However, there's also the digital access. And if you're coming, what I would recommend is go through the digital access and then come sit in the room. Mm-hmm. And that way it just helps bring it all together even more for you. And, the biggest thing coming out of there is taking it and then getting it into action. You're not going to have it perfect. We have kind of a mental measurement. It's a dozen times, and that you're able to go through that process, that you're really going to get to that level to where you feel really confident about it. And, I always tell the story that, about me and my sister. And, I listed her house to sell the first time, and it's just because it was my sister, right? She's going to trust her big brother. Shit. She about killed me. She about killed Carla. Carla hated me. And we ended up selling it, but I didn't talk to her for months after that. And then, obviously we rekindled the relationship, and then she's like, all right, we're going to try this again. And I said, yeah, we are, but I'm taking you through the process. And I articulated the value, took her through the whole process. One of the best experiences ever. And she was so grateful, so thankful. And so, sometimes you think you can shortcut it because it's family, but yet that could be some of the worst experience, not only for you, for them, and then also for your team, if you have a team that's helping you support and deliver on the value. So, we are getting together in Dallas. It's always, we've bounced around and done a couple in a year, 3 a year. This year we've only done one, and we just so much uncertainty, I think, with events coming in early on. But the first week of December has been our home for over a decade now with CHBA boot camp, NAEA boot camp. And so we'll be in North Dallas the first week of December. That is our home for that event. First 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And, it's live, it's interactive, it's boot camp, it's workshop. You get to work, you get to learn, you get to articulate, you get to role play, you get to practice the things that we know that help you really retain it at a high level to be able to take it back into your market and really utilize it.
Let's kind of just go over real quick who that's for too, because we actually talked about it on today's huddle this morning when we were talking about 2023 events. And there's really only 2 events that we can point to that were just like, that no one else, you're not going to get this anywhere else. It's agent to CEO on that side of things. And it's the boot camp. So with regard to the boot camp, I remember being a coaching client. This is before I was a coach of Kinder Reese coaching, NAEA coaching. And I plugged into this personally as a team leader because I was still going on appointments and I needed a duplicatable system that I could teach my agents. I love the boot camp because I would send all my agents to the boot camp and they'd come back trained. Talk to the audience a little bit about who this is for, who should attend, who should not miss the boot camp.
Yeah. So like we probably could do a job of packaging, what this really is. It's much bigger than just 2 certifications and a listing and buyer presentation. It's way different than just that. It's really about shifting your business from understanding how to be positioned and to attract business versus chase business. That's really at the core of our philosophy is how are you positioned in a way to attract business, and then what's the process you're using to articulate your value proposition, and then communicate that and being positioned as the expert. Meaning NAEA is saying you're a certified home selling advisor instead of you going in doing your dog and pony show telling them how great you are. All of these things are extremely important no matter what level that you're at. The agent that seems to think that this isn't for them is the agent that's doing 20 deals a year that is getting it all by referral and thinks that they win every appointment no matter what because they're great. Well, that's because they've never spent money in marketing and had to compete against the number one agent in the marketplace. And so it really is, if you have a team and you want a duplicatable process for all your agents to go through, it's 100% free. If you are newer or if you're wanting to start to learn how to attract business and get the phone ring with people that are ready to do business with you ahead of time, then it's for you. And if you feel like you haven't been trained like a Navy SEAL and you don't have a process that you are following that works on how to have a conversation, how to attract a buyer, get them to run red lights to meet with you, want to sign a buyer brokerage agreement, and hire you at your commission that you charge, then this is for you. If you want to learn how to do the same on the listing side of the business, then this is for you. So like that's really, there's probably nobody it's really for, but like, that agent that doesn't have a system and process and doesn't know how to articulate their value is clearly, it's built around the principle of understanding what is your value proposition? What is your USP? Why should somebody hire you versus hiring somebody else? And you leave with the actual presentation, marketing pieces that you use to position you as the expert. So you don't have to sell yourself. You're being positioned as an expert by someone else saying that you're an expert. All of these things are principles that you'll kind of learn and understand going through the process of the 3 days. But yeah, that's what I would say it's for. I mean, and more importantly today, I just did a podcast with Tony King, the broker in charge for Texas. Great guy. I love this dude. And, we got into, just like what's going to be the hardest thing people deal with over the next 2 years. And I said, it's going to be the number one thing that every single person is going to deal with right now is the uncertainty that buyers have about buying right now with rates where they're at. Are they going to go up? Are they going to go down? And convincing a seller to price at a price that's not the price that they wanted to hear. Like being able to communicate a way that they're willing. I don't know. Did I cut out again?
Yeah, freeze up on us a little bit there.
But we got a little bit of Puerto Rico internet issues. I noticed, but that's hopefully that didn't cut out before I kind of finished that. But that's there's a process for a way to do that. And if you don't know that and you tell somebody a price that they don't want to hear and you lose all rapport and get kicked out of the house, you'll know what I mean when that happens. But there's a way to give that information in a way that the information they need to hear about pricing and positioning today versus 6 months ago versus 6 weeks ago. It's not the same. And that's going to be really hard if you don't understand how to do that. And so we teach all that and you get all that when you come through the course. So highly recommended if you haven't done it. I mean, we've never had somebody come that wasn't blown away. Not one ever. So
right. No, it is. It's absolutely key, absolutely critical. And, we're adamant about it and because it helps the community. It helps our community. It helps the Honey Badger community. It helps you. It helps your local community. It's just, one of our values, right? Come from a place of abundance and always add value. And that's just really what we're all trying to do. And I know, Al, you shared some of the virtues and values of the Honey Badger Nation. And, it really resonates just from, from us and who we are at our core. And we're just wanting to pour into people as much as we can.
Yep. I want to, I gotta jump, but I just want to tell you guys how much I appreciate you. I wake up, pinch myself every day to be partnered with such an amazing group of entrepreneurs, big thinkers, forward thinkers, and of course, everyone in Honey Badger Nation. I'm grateful for you all. So appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
23. We're going to come in rolling like a fireball. With a honey badger. So I love y'all. Cheers.
Love you, brother. Thank you for jumping in. See you. So, cuz let's just kind of talk about what we're excited about moving forward, especially with this community. We know kind of where the challenges are going to be, especially when it comes to buyers and sellers and their mindset. And, really what we're talking about here is these experts positioning themselves as a true expert advisor in their marketplace. But, for you and just kind of, forward, thinking as it comes to the Honey Badger Nation, what are you the most excited about?
Dude, I'm fired up, man. I love the question. The reason I'm excited is because we cut our teeth in markets like this, right? A lot of what we created was born out of necessity, going through a downturn that was worse than what we've seen thus far. And so that's where this becomes extremely important. You could do things, a year ago that don't work today.
Our market. I don't think people understand this. And I mentioned, the $1 billion in production in 1 year with Brett Jennings. And, I remember Brett multiple times. He goes, I appreciate where you guys came from because it forced me to pay attention to the details. Mm-hmm. Even if I'm selling, my average 1.5 to 2, right? He goes, I don't overlook the details.
Right.
And just kind of explain for everybody, because I don't really understand. They have their head around everything that we've done.
The thing that is easy to come by in real estate is people's ideas. And unfortunately that sometimes we get advice from people that really, they don't have the real, the real background of having done something. Not to say that they haven't done something, but if you have an average sale price of 800,000 and you have a lot of room for error in your business model, meaning you can overpay people, you can pay higher splits than you should, than you need to. But in order for us to do it in Lawton, Oklahoma, we didn't have no room for mistakes. We had to dial in the business model, and it had to be profitable. It had to be profitable without me in the business. And so that was a really big shift. And for some of you, if not a lot of you that have aspire to step out of production, it is really, really hard. Okay. It's really hard if you don't have a system and a process you're following to do so. And what I found was that there's nobody really teaching, a system based on, that doesn't take into consideration, what is your average sell price? If it's less than 135,000, I would just advise you move, because that's where we were at. And
we were given to.
Right. That's where we were at. But unfortunately, there was nowhere to go. But that I think that that we went through what we went through in trying to build a business that was a business that didn't require us to be out in the field doing the business was a lot more challenging. And so, we were able to do that, step out of production. John ran the company to 22% pre-tax profit. There's a way to, we had to, we couldn't leave any stone uncovered. We had to do everything the best possible way that you could. And so I think that's why a lot of the detail is in what we built and why it works no matter where you're at. So certainly, there's a lot of advice out there, but I don't think anyone's really combed through it the way we had to make it work for us. So hope that answered kind of what you were thinking there.
Yeah, I do. You have to make sure, every little detail matters and really running it like a business. And I don't know anybody out there really teaching real estate, entrepreneur, residential, especially teaching them how to really run a business, run it like a business. I just don't believe anybody is doing that at the level that, we're capable of doing that at, and the capable we are doing that at. And so, it really is, it's just, yeah, I mean, that's who you want to pay attention to, right? Because every transaction fee matters. You know, every vendor dollar matters. Every, you know, key relationship matters. Every past client matters. Every one of your team members matters. Like the details matter. And I always joke, if, you know, if anybody says the details don't, you know, you need to run far away from those people, because it really is. Yep, for sure. Cuz I'm super pumped. Appreciate, you know, you and Al and the entire Honey Badger Nation, and you know, being able to make, you know, episode, you know, up to this point so incredible. And I'm excited about, you know, the next 200. We're not going to stop, because, you know, just there's so many amazing people that just want to continue to give, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to go grab them. We're going to have great conversations and let them pour into all of us, into the Honey Badger Nation.
Right on, brother.
All right. Appreciate you guys. If, you know, hopefully, you know, this is able to connect and resonate, give you guys a little more clarity. But man, if you're one of those honey badgers listening in, and you just have that heart that you just want to be like, yes, I have something to contribute, something I want to, you know, add, feel free to reach out. We'll get you in the lineup. Would love to have you on, and look forward to many more conversations in the future.
Yep.
All right. Appreciate you guys.
Y'all. Love y'all.
See ya.